Cowboys. Now, here's Zach Wolchuk and Brian Broaddus.
45, and Milton is back. All kinds of time. He airs this out deep. He got a man left. Mingo at the 15-10. Mingo dances in. Bingo, bango, mingo. Touchdown, Cowboys.
Boom, baby, 34-13. Cowboys advancing to 2-0 in the preseason for the first time since 2007 as they beat the Arizona Cardinals. Postgame brought to you by Pepsi. Football's back. Tailgating deserves Pepsi. Zach Wolchuk alongside Eric Chiafalo, my partner in crime, in for Brian Broaddus tonight. Brian, we love you. Of course, the postgame show, pregame, halftime, all of it dedicated to you, sir. And we are excited to get you back next week. But what a game for the Cowboys in Arizona, a place that really preseason, regular season, you name it, the Cardinals, for whatever reason, have been a thorn in the Cowboys' side. But tonight, and I gotta say, Eric, specifically the running game. I mean, Joe Milton was fantastic. You had that touchdown strike. You heard Brad with the call to Mingo. Milton was great. But one of my biggest takeaways, as we just go ahead and recap this, 877-881-1053, the number to call, the number to text, 877-881-1053. Just the night and day difference you got to feel about this running back room preseason and leading up to tonight. I've been worried. I'm like, my gosh, I don't know if they've got the running back two on the roster. Do they need to go out? Do they need to outsource this thing? But Jaden Blue running hard. Phil Maffa gets one carry, gets himself a touchdown. Malik Davis continues to be an absolute stud. And Abanaconda, 8 for 39, averaging about 5 yards a carry. The running game was great tonight.
Yeah, and credit to the depth on the offensive line. They were able to open up much more in the way of holes today for the backs to actually have a little bit more of an opportunity. But you could see there was an extra pep in the step of all of these guys. And I would credit Malik Davis for just setting that tone and raising that bar, and Blue and Abanikanda, and then what you saw right there at the end from Maffa. But particularly Blue, because that's a guy that we know has kind of a higher ceiling for, okay, this could be somebody that could bring a different explosive dimension to the offense. And you mentioned the tough running factor as well. Jerry was talking about in the pregame. We'd love to see him get to the outside. It wasn't a ton of that. It was finding the hole, being patient, and then hitting it hard with some good intention. He had a couple of hurdles in the game as well. It just felt like the confidence was there, and it's amazing how for a running back, once you start getting in the groove a little bit, he was in rhythm, the vision was better, and then some of those tough runs, it was a beautiful thing to see. I mean, 15 carries, 75 yards, and the 15-yard run that he had, I mean, that was awesome from Blue tonight.
Yeah, it was. And the offensive line, I mean, look, we say this all the time in the postgame. We got to go back. We got to look at the tape, specifically line of scrimmage stuff. But again, I do think, I mean, you saw Johnny Cornelius early in that game was pushing Blue from behind, is able to move that pile. I did think, and Drew Shelton, it wasn't perfect, but it was a much better performance tonight than a week ago, where he didn't look like he, quite frankly, belonged on an NFL field. Moving back over to his natural spot at left tackle, Nate Thomas moving back to right tackle. I think that was a move that's already looking like it was a good swap out. Keegan again. You didn't see Bass, but I thought Nick Leverett showed that he was pretty darn good starting at center tonight. And then an awesome moment for Shiaz Pete. You heard Christy getting a little bit choked up there in the broadcast as the Navajo Nation were giving him some love as he got to go into the game, and then Phil Maffa scores that touchdown. So a lot of positives to take away from tonight. And again, a really difficult decision now at wide receiver, because Camden Brown shows out again. Jonathan Mingo was really good. I mean, you see signs from Anthony Smith. Maybe they could get him on the practice squad, but it's going to be difficult when you talk about what positions, 5, 6 wide receivers at safety. If Bell is safe, again, I thought that you saw some good things from Julius Wood tonight. Elijah Clark, they were your two leading tacklers in the game. Wood did leave because of a concussion, but this is going to be a numbers crunch. We're going to have to talk about that throughout the entire postgame show. We're with you for the next 2 hours, but right now, let's go ahead and pause 10 seconds for station identification across the Dallas Cowboys radio network. Oh, you got it. Peyton got the ID. All right, so we're good. We're good on that one.
Nice work, Peyton. Look at Peyton in there doing his job.
Fearless leader over here, making sure we get the IDs in. NFL Plus is here, which means no matter where you are, this is how you football. Get live, local, and primetime regular season and preseason games when your phone or tablet, plus game replays and more, all right now. You can get NFL Plus annual for just $40 or NFL Plus premium annual for $79.99. That's 20% off. That's a hell of a deal. For a limited time, go to NFL.com and start your free trial of NFL Plus today. Offer ends September 21st. I do love NFL Plus. I think it's awesome. That's how you're able to go back, watch that all 22. You can go ahead and scout this thing yourself. But again, good signs on the defense. Eric Savone Revel comes in, gets a pick. I thought Jay Toia had himself a hell of a game. LT Overton getting a sack. It is the Arizona Cardinals. I do want to preface this. They might end up being one of the worst teams in all the National Football League. But last week, you're going up against the reigning defending NFC champion, or Super Bowl champion, Seattle Seahawks. They looked good, too. The 2s and 3s look better than Seattle.
Yeah, it speaks to the depth on this team, and that's a good thing. You know, there's going to be some guys that maybe end up getting cut that you're like, dang, how can you let this guy go? But that's what happens when you fill out a roster in a much more impressive way than what we've seen in years past. So it was good to see just the overall depth on both sides of the ball, and then some of your young guys, like the idea that you're getting the Revel interception. What a night and day difference. Like the growth from a lot of these guys, the development of Joe Milton. Huge credit to Shoddy. Huge credit to Clayton Adams and Steve Shimko and these guys that are taking Milton, and clearly you're seeing, okay, this isn't a Trey Lance situation where it's like, is he getting any better? Is he getting any better? You're seeing it from Joe Milton, and then the younger guys like the Revel defensively. You saw what you had from Barham tonight as well. But when you're able to get these guys in the middle rounds of a draft, and that's how you can really take your team to the next level. Of course, you want to hit on your premium assets, but when you're hitting on some third-round picks like you saw Revel get in the action tonight, Barham as well, Overton, that's how you really fill out a roster. And it was just, I mean, seriously, this was as fun of a preseason game as I can remember watching for the Cowboys. This was fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, it's really hard to find anything to complain about tonight. I thought both quarterbacks, maybe the Sam Howell interception, not the best decision there, but Milton was great. I thought the backup offensive line, I'm sure there's going to be some things to clean up when you go back and look at it, but the overall depth at wide receiver, Jayshawn Barham, and we talked about it in the pregame. We were so excited. Christy acknowledged it too. I mean, the players were excited to see him. He just looked so comfortable, and you saw just the instinctiveness, especially in the running game, but I thought even in coverage, he was moving really, really well. The size aspect of it, I mean, you can see why there's conversations inside the building. Should Barham end up starting for you at that Mike linebacker spot? He looked absolutely fantastic. Justin Barron ended up having 4 tackles as well. It was good that Curtis Robinson, who went down momentarily, he's fine. It seems like he's good to go. But Barham was, he popped immediately as soon as this game started.
Yeah, from the jump. I mean, the physicality is ridiculous. You mentioned the instincts. It looked like he was on a blitz on one of those plays, and that's another added bonus that you get in a guy like that, the versatility, being able to he's an attacker at all times, and to be able to fight through a block in the hole and make the tackle all at the same time, that was a beautiful instance. And then him just flying around, even on one of those, the screen play, where he's not able to make the tackle, but he's able to basically just blow up the play to be in position and get there in the right amount of time. So, I mean, all that stuff was fantastic. You mentioned the coverage stuff as well, and I just like seeing him. He's getting depth in his drops. Yeah. He's looking for, okay, who's my nearest receiving threat right now? Let me cut underneath that. And the quarterbacks were like, okay, well, I can't throw it there. Now I have to check it down, and then here he comes with the rally. He flies around. He's fantastic, and that's exactly what you wanted to see. There's been so much excitement and hype about him and what he's done in the practices, but for him to take that and then in the first few moments of the game, bang, he pops. Like he's the real deal.
He is. I mean, he looked fantastic in his preseason debut tonight. We'll see if he ends up getting some playing time next week against the Saints. But he did his job, did what he needed to do. Camden Brown ended up being your leading receiver. I mean, now when you're looking at this depth chart, the question is going to be, do you keep 6 wide receivers? And I don't think the Cowboys have any intention of moving Kevontae Turpin. I don't. I did ask this to Broadus this week, so I was just cruising around and I was thinking, wide receivers in the area that they're deep. Now, who's going to be your kick and punt returner? I do think Kevontae Turpin clearly gives you a threat every time he's back there. But, the touchdowns, last year he was an All-Pro. I don't know that he really had an All-Pro returning season. But Brian asked the gang of 7, and yes, there would be some value to Kevontae Turpin if they put him on the open market. If you want to try and get, whether it's a corner, maybe it's a tackle, whatever position is, then maybe you want to try, or maybe it's just some draft picks I would consider possibly doing that. I don't know that the Cowboys have any intention of doing it. But when you look at how Camden Brown's played, how Jonathan Mingo's starting to come on, you got to look at that wide receiver room, Anthony Smith, another guy with speed, and say, dang, is that a move we should consider making?
Yeah, I'm with you. I don't see the Cowboys wanting to make that move. You definitely need to see Kevontae Turpin take a step forward in the return game. Last year, there was definitely a big drop-off, and a lot of people theorize that it's because he worked into the offense a little bit more, and then he just became less hungry when it comes to the way that he was returning the football. If you get the height of his powers, Turpin, as a return man, you still want that. And just still the speed element that he brings. Can you have a couple of plays that pop down the field offensively because of Turpin? So I understand the conversation there, especially if he's going to remain just kind of an average kick returner like he was last year. But, I mean, I wonder if is it Mingo? Is Mingo the guy that has now become like, hey, I'm in Houston and I need some receivers right now. Would I want to make a call on Jonathan Mingo? But one way or another, they're going to have to make a decision. We're either keeping 6 of these guys, or you have to flip one of them and get something in return for them. And I think those two guys would either be Turpin or Mingo.
Yeah, I wonder what Mingo's value would be. I think that's an interesting one. Maybe we can kind of put that one in the gang of 7 and see what Brian's group has to say about a Mingo guy. But clearly, Kevontae Turpin is a guy we know with value. Mingo's interesting though. I mean, I'm blown away. I did not think he was a guy that really was going to be a threat to make the roster. He looks like a totally different player.
Yeah, but I mean, it's not even like I'm trying to get rid of Mingo. I don't want that to be misconstrued.
You're not going to be able to keep all these guys.
Yeah, if it's too much of a logjam, you at least got to get something for somebody here. And just the fact that he's able to show that he's been productive as a receiver through the air, you know what kind of blocker he is. Like, there's a ton of value there.
Mm-hmm. And special teams, he's been really good.
And the special teams factor as well. And shout out to Camden Brown, who made a tackle on special teams tonight as well. That's something that, they're going to be looking for. But yeah, overall, just a wonderful situation across the board. And they talk about how the competition makes everyone better. Tonight was a great example of that, where you have all these different guys fighting for roster spots, and it felt like it brought the most out of all the guys in each position group. And so it was a beautiful thing to see, and Bobby pointed this out on Twitter earlier in the game, but usually this time of year, there's at least one guy that you see in Oxnard during the practices. They're like, dang, this dude's pretty dang awesome. And then you get to the games, and they're kind of nowhere to be found, and people that weren't in Oxnard watching, they'd be like, what are you guys talking about? But this year, it feels like all the guys that you saw making plays in Oxnard on either side of the football, it translates into the game, and they are meeting the expectations that they've set for themselves with the way that they've practiced. And that's another fun thing as well about this team right now.
Yeah, I mean, Camden Brown's one of those guys. I think Dunn, DJ Withers along the defensive tackle room, those guys have certainly made the most of it. Jay Toia tonight I already mentioned, but certainly with that pass breakup that he had, another big rush. I mean, Sam Williams and Maris Leofau late in the game, and those are two guys that are probably fighting for roster spots with the addition. We already got a text on the 469, cut Leofau, and he probably is not going to make this team unless it's just because of special teams, but it is with the addition of Von Miller. Now those guys that you thought, well, maybe they are going to be on the roster, they might have to be fighting for jobs elsewhere.
You can't miss that sack down there in the red zone where it was a beautiful opportunity, and it goes for an incompletion anyways, but he had a great opportunity to take a 10-yard loss for the offense, but he wasn't able to get the quarterback down.
All right, 877-881-1053. We'll hit the phones. We will get the feedback from you. Make sure you're calling and texting. We're rocking with you until 2 a.m. We'll hear from the voice of your Cowboys, Brad Sham. A little bit later on, also your head coach, Brian Schottenheimer, 34-13. Cowboys get the win over Arizona, week 2 of the preseason. Let's go out to our buddy Tim in Carthage. Tim, what's going on?
Hey, Timmy.
Hey, Zach. Hey, it's great to talk to you guys. And, of course, I'm not going to say anything until we take care of what's most importantly, the Toto Nation and the Cowboy Nation is praying for Brian's speedy recovery. Now, Brian, I want you to remember, I know your weight, but we need you to recover, not to rush, because we got a long season ahead of us, my friend. Now, let's get down to some business, okay? I know that you're trying to cram 3-hour show into a 2-hour, so I'm going to be as quick as I can. I was just thoroughly pleased with everything I saw tonight. I just was tickled to death and I went into the game determined to do a couple of things. Now, you can only watch maybe 1-2 players since it's a live ball game. You don't have a chance to rewind and go back. And so I'm going to try to break my analysis down to first half, second half. First half, we know the players out on the field were playing for the 53-man roster. Players on the second half, they're playing for the practice squad. Okay, that's with that said, overall, very pleased with what I saw in the first half. What I focused on was a running back, linebacker, and receivers. Well, starting with the running back, they've got some tough decisions. I agree with you 100%. Clearly, without a shadow of a doubt in my mind, Davis is number one. But when it comes to Malfa and Blue, there's going to be some tough decisions. Now, what's going to be the tiebreaker? I hate to say this, Blue, but man, Malfa, he showed some guts on the kickoff return there at the beginning of the game, and also the second kickoff. So that's a feature that you like to have with your backup running back. But Davis is clearly your man. Now, when we get to linebackers, you're right. Barham, hey, speed, quickness, aggression, toughness, stick and stay. Hey, all day long, he is clearly a man that we want to keep around for a little bit longer and try to develop a little bit more because he's got some quality. Jones, I don't think Jones is I don't think he's ready. He has some areas where he needs to grow. He might be a good practice squad player, but Woods, he's got to go. I'm sorry, there's just not going to be room for Woods. I saw some let-ups there that I don't think that we can afford. Mingo, Brown, and, of course, Holton, I thought was going to be my focus tonight, but I didn't realize until tonight that Treson has already been cut. But Mingo and Brown, I'm telling you, that was some kind of pleasant surprise to see tonight, those two guys. And Milton, hey, questions asked, questions answered. He is clearly 2026 backup quarterback.
Thank you, Tim. We appreciate it. Yeah, Joe Milton was great. I mean, I think that he absolutely made the most of his opportunity. I think that he solidified that quarterback 2 spot. And now the question will be how many quarterbacks do you keep? Do you keep 3? Do you just keep 2? But shout out to our guy Jeff Kolb over there with Fox. Joe Milton, his stats through 2 preseason halves, 21 of 28, 286 yards, 3 touchdowns. He's got 1 rushing touchdown, 9 drives. They've scored 31 points on those 9 drives, 24 first downs. He's been moving the ball. He's been efficient. I mean, look, the pass to Mingo, you couldn't have handed it to him any better. It was absolutely beautiful. The touchdown to Malik Davis, he's buying time. He's rolling out of the pocket. He's finding him. He really just looks to be in total command. It is a night and day difference from the player we saw last year, and really much more confident within this offense. All right, more of your calls and texts, 877-881-1053 as the Cowboys postgame show rolls on. Cowboys beat Arizona 34-13. You're listening to the Dallas Cowboys Radio Network.
Miller time. People think it just happens, but that's not true. You know what you gotta do? You gotta go say hello with some beers. Make the plans. Forget the couch. Go to that thing. Play the game. See them in person. Talk to that stranger. Live a little. Small acts of rebellion that bring us together. Because legendary moments start with a light. It's Miller time. Celebrate responsibly. 2026 Miller Brewing Company, Milwaukee, Wisconsin.
Let's go Cowboys!
For decades, the Dallas Cowboys have been America's team.
Dropping back and looking left. He's got a man open deep.
And Globe Life has been offering insurance to families in America for more than 125 years.
Touchdown! What a play! Perfect execution when it mattered most.
That's why millions of families trust Globe Life to help protect what matters most.
Let's go Cowboys!
Globe Life. Make tomorrow better.
Throughout time, man has expressed himself through dance. The Charleston, the two-step, and yes, even the Macarena. But few dances have captured the imagination like the victory dance. It says, I am a winner. In your face, world. With Cowboys scratch tickets from the Texas Lottery, You could have lots to celebrate with top prizes of $100K, plus enter for a chance to win VIP Cowboys experiences. Dust off your victory dance and play today. Must be 18 or older. Play responsibly.
Hey, Cowboy fans. Keith Davis here, formerly
Connecting changes everything. WinStar World Casino and Resort. Proud to be the casino of the Dallas Cowboys. Please game responsibly. Pepsi. Football's back. Tailgating deserves Pepsi. Blockchain.com. Invest like an icon with Blockchain.com. And by Miller Lite, the only beer of the Cowboys. It's Miller time.
At the 5, Minshew back to throw, looking, Wheat pushing the pocket, and Wheat almost had him, and Wheat goes through the defender, through the tackle, and along with LT Overton, it's a sack, and Overton might have got there first. Overton and Wheat.
Yeah, LT Overton, man. Certainly, I think the scheme is benefiting him as he's kicking inside. You see the power that he plays with. That was evident when you watch the tape from Alabama and at Texas A&M. But as a true edge, maybe the pass rush coming in was not something that we were thinking, oh, okay, he really excelled. But man, putting his hand in the ground and kicking inside, he is looking like a disruptive force. Maybe a mid-round steal there for the Dallas Cowboys as LT Overton with a sack as the Cowboys get the win 34-13. Brought to you by AT&T. Connecting changes everything. Zach Wolchuk alongside Eric Chiafal, the official post-game show of your Dallas Cowboys, and the creators of Buffalo Casino Games, bringing Cowboys-themed casino games developed by Aristocrat. Check out Aristocrat's newest casino game, NFL Super Grand Champions. Please contact 1-800-GAMBLER for 21 and over. Really, the defense. And I get it, right? It's preseason. All you can react to is what you're seeing. But, this time last year, I think we all knew this defense is going to be in for a long one. You saw it in the joint practices with the Rams. It was a struggle. This year, we got good signs coming out of the joint practice. But through 2 preseason games, last year, the Cowboys defense gave up 62 points, 6 touchdowns. For what it's worth, okay, the Cowboys defense this year has allowed, I believe, just 20 points, 2 touchdowns. And that's pretty freaking impressive overall. You can just see it, the way that they're coached up. The depth looks different. The change in personnel, I think, has been tremendous. When you have Shamar James, who led your defense in tackles last year, and now you look at the depth chart, and he's linebacker 4, maybe? They've done an excellent job in just 1 year of overturning the talent, the personnel, but also Christian Parker really having these guys coached up and ready to play.
Yeah, exactly. They seem like they are ready to play. There's a disciplined nature to them. You don't see a bunch of busts in coverage or defensive linemen just getting blown out of holes for chunk runs. The tackling has been much better. I know last week, I think Next Gen only credited them with one missed tackle on the game, and they were missing tackles at a ridiculous rate last year. How long was it before? I mean, they weren't even able to get PBUs last year, let alone interceptions. And then there you see Revel getting his hands on the football tonight. There's a spunk, there's a confidence, and there's an overall physicality to this defense that, again, we saw in Oxnard, and it is translating into the games. Barham was outstanding tonight, but also the safeties. Julius Wood, I hate that he got the concussion, but it makes sense that he did because he flies around and smacks people all the time. It felt like he was in on just about every single tackle. Even in the secondary, you have Kalen Carson. Say what you want about him. Credit to him without the penalties tonight. And overall, just a cleaner penalty game for the Cowboys, which is a beautiful thing. 4 penalties on the night for the team. That's fantastic stuff. So you see the discipline there. But even Kalen Carson making some plays when it comes to the tackling and things like that. There's a much different energy and cohesiveness to the defense right now, and it is a joy to watch.
Yeah, just the 4 penalties, big time improvement from just a week ago. And then also red zone efficiency for the offense. Third down efficiency tonight was really, really good. The Cowboys were finishing drives inside the end zone, being able to contribute on third down to extend drives. 540 asking, is Hunter Lipke a lock to make the roster? He is. Now, they paid him last year. And a big topic of conversation for us was like, okay, well, like, they're not really using him. So we'll see what the plan is. Obviously, you're not being shown everything right now. It's very vanilla on offense and on defense. Maybe they do have more of a role for Hunter Lipke. He's also a very good special teams player, but as a tight end / running back, he can fill a variety of different roles for you. But yes, I do believe Hunter Lipke is a lock to make the roster. They've sat him. He hasn't played a single rep. He hasn't had to. I don't know that I necessarily agree with that, but the Cowboys love him. He's not going anywhere.
No, he's not, and we'll see if he even ends up giving up that jersey number 40. But he's there's something about these guys that they're try hard. They'll play wherever they're asked to play. Like you said, though, you just want to see if you like him that much. Why don't you see him doing more?
Yeah, just find a way to put him on the field.
And you want him to be, like, you would think, okay, bread and butter, for sure, this dude is a dynamite blocker. Mm-hmm. Like, you put him in at fullback, and he's kicking people out of the hole left and right, and he's not even really that guy.
No, I mean, he was a true running back. I mean, he was like a single I formation in North Dakota State, guy that just toted the rock for you. He had to kind of learn how to block when he got into the NFL, and he's made strides in that area, but you're right. He's not like that old school, like John Kuhn was the guy that he was getting compared to from Green Bay. Because, like, okay, when McCarthy was the coach, McCarthy was a fan of him. How are you going to use him? But he didn't have that skill set when he first got into the NFL. He's really had to kind of try and learn that and improve upon it. I think he has, but still, that's not your old school throwback fullback that you put in an I formation that's just going to go ahead and knock a linebacker and then put him on the ground.
Yeah, where you just say, hey, I know what I have in this guy. Anything I get from like a rushing standpoint or some type of catch out of the backfield is the cherry on top. But I know when he's on the field, he's going to be crushing linebackers and things like that. And it's just not really the case. I understand the overall fan frustration with why did you pay him and what is he really doing here?
Yeah, the other question with Bell, and I asked this to Brad earlier, but it does seem like Marquise Bell is safe when he doesn't play tonight and he's not injured. I mean, he has been a good special teams player throughout his career, but ever since 2023 where he broke out playing linebacker with Dan Quinn in the defense, Marquise Bell's kind of struggled to find his role within the defense. I've thought guys like Wood and Elijah Clark have had better camps than Bell, but that might be a guy. And Brad made a great point. Maybe they just know what they have in Marquise Bell, and they want to get more from Zion Childress, who played a lot of snaps, and evaluate that. Wood, Elijah Clark, they just want to see what they have in these guys. So we'll see. But it does seem as though, just trying to kind of read and make an educated guess, that Marquise Bell would have his roster spot saved. I worry about him in coverage. That's the only thing. I just think he was the mark. I mean, anytime the ones were going against it was 14's the mark. Let's find Marquise Bell. Let's try and exploit him. But clearly he does have some certain roles that, and the closer he gets to the line of scrimmage, he's been a good player in the NFL. But the Cowboys, I was surprised because going into tonight, I was like, man, Wood and Clark, I think, have bounced him off the roster. But might be wrong.
Maybe they go super long at the position and they're all able to make it, but it would be tough to stomach if Bell's on the roster and Wood or Clark is not. And we'll have to see what happens with Wood with the concussion situation that he's in. But that dude is just 100 miles an hour at all times and plays with a physical identity that clearly Christian Parker wants on his defense.
Absolutely. 877-881-1053, the official postgame show of the Dallas Cowboys after a 34-13 win over Arizona. It's Zach Wolchuk. It's Eric Giafalo. Let's get back to the phones. Let's go out to Kansas City, where Brian's been waiting patiently. Brian, what's going on, man?
Good afternoon, gentlemen. Well, it's morning now.
Yeah, good morning, Brian.
Hey, first of all, like Tim said, shout out and prayers to Brian Broaddus. Speedy recovery. Look forward to seeing you very, very soon. Hey, on offense, the thing about this year that's so different is we're returning all 11 starters, same scheme, everything. All the questions are in backup positions. And that's really what I wanted to see coming out of tonight on the offense was, hey, let's clarify some of this stuff. I agree with what you guys said about Milton. I think, based on what we've seen so far, I think he's a half step above Howell now. It's his job to lose. But I don't feel like I have any clarity on tackle, backup tackle, or running back too. I would have said it was Davis's job to lose right up until he fumbled. And the other two guys had a great game. So I feel like it's very, very muddy there. I've not seen any practices like in Oxnard or Frisco. I don't live in the area, so I'm curious what you guys think. In the big picture, is there any clarity on those two positions? And I want to throw out a name that you guys didn't mention as trade bait.
Yeah.
We're deep at, in my opinion, we're deep at safety. Would Hooker have any value? I'll hang up and listen. Have a good one, gentlemen.
I'll tell you what, Broaddus would love that question. Would Hooker have any value?
He just gave a tiger fist pump in his recliner.
Yes, he did. He's been trying to move on. I wonder that, too. We'd have to probably ask around. I think Malik Hooker is loved in the building. I mean, they love his football IQ. I think that Malik Hooker is one of these guys that they have big plans for along the defense. And I think they're going to be playing a lot of 3 safety looks, especially with Downs and Thompson. And heck, Bobby even mentioned P.J. Locke as a guy that they feel like can give them some slot versatility.
Yeah, you need bodies at this position. Like you need the surplus with the way that Parker wants to run these guys out.
Yeah, and look, at running back, tonight was a huge step because to me, that had been a very underwhelming position. I didn't think anybody really stood out in the practices outside of Blue in the screen games that they had run. I think Malik Davis, you saw it by his usage in practice this week and then tonight getting the start. He clearly, to me, did kind of take over that RB2 role. But again, Blue, I think tonight, it clearly was fantastic. This is the best version of Jaden Blue, I think, that we had seen. And I wonder, I think you feel so, I can't recall a game, one singular instance that I felt so much better about a position group than preseason or pregame when we're talking about running back, and I'm like, dude, I think they're going to have to go get somebody. And then now I'm like, damn, that room really answered the bell tonight.
Yeah. You still. Brian is basically saying, you have questions there, and he's comparing it to the offensive line. I think the questions you have at running back, it's muddy because now you're seeing everybody contribute, and it's kind of a good situation. Which one of these guys are we going to have to let go? Whereas on the offensive line, it's still a little bit of a different story. I do think the backup guys on the O-line took a step in the right direction today, but that's one of those position groups where you're going to be kind of hanging on for dear life if one of the starters misses any amount of time due to injury. So, seeing Shelton at left tackle was definitely better than seeing him at right tackle last week. That's a guy that they've clearly invested in, but that's a rookie, and he's got a lot of developing to do. Cornelius at guard, I think, has pretty much locked himself in there, which is a good thing. Obviously, you have TJ Bass. I think Trevor Keegan, Nate Thomas, those are probably the guys you're talking about here.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree, and I don't think you feel great about your tackle depth. I don't know that they feel great about their starting right tackle right now.
Exactly.
But, yeah, that's kind of where you're at right now. Appreciate the call there, Brian.
I do love what he's talking about with the overall continuity offensively, though. I mean, what a beautiful thing that this offense has coming into this year. You were so dominant last year, and you basically get to copy and paste that thing. As long as Terrence Steele isn't totally, unequivocally worse than what he was last year, the offense should be humming.
All right, let's go to Kyle in Washington. Kyle, how are you doing, sir?
How we doing, gentlemen? Mr. Wooly Bully and Chi Follow. How we doing, sir?
Great, fantastic, man.
Oh, yeah, no worries. I was going to talk about Camden Brown, but I just want to give a shout-out to Chiafalo. Your opening monologue and the way you depicted what you saw through the game is on point, sir, 100 out of 100. I'm in the Air Force, and we like to do everything by perfection. So that was perfection. I do want to say Malik Davis, all right?
Yep.
Yes, sir. You talk about tenacity. When he ran over the Arizona player, that's how you make the team, sir. Yes. And Camden Brown coming back again, the defense stepping up again, and not to mention Brendan Aubrey with another 50-yarder.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, how can you not ask for anything less than that? Christian Parker, Brian Schottenheimer, Jerry Jones stepping back and letting people work as they work as a unit. When you put a squad into an Air Force or into any military situation, you have to work as a team. That's what it is, a team sport. Let's go ahead and get this championship, gentlemen.
Appreciate the call, Kyle. Yeah, man. I mean, you got to be feeling good in Cowboy land right now for what you saw tonight. Hopefully they're all like this, and in the regular season, can we please get a game like this against Arizona? That's what we're asking for.
Yeah. Goodness. Seriously. Hopefully they casted out those Arizona demons tonight, and it can be a whole totally different story when you get to the regular season. I did want to see Brandon Aubrey hit that 69-yarder before half, though.
Like, why not?
Give him a chance.
Give him a shot. If this guy's going to miss it now, you got the ball back. Let's go ahead and let Butter go ahead and boot one through.
Yeah, Butker did it with the Chiefs today. He banged home a 69-yarder. Come on, let Aubrey do the same thing, or at least give us a Hail Mary. Milton to Camden Brown.
Maybe, yeah.
That could have happened.
Yeah, it's going to be tough. I mean, Camden Brown, I think, has played so well that any other team in the NFL would say, I'll go ahead and add that guy. Especially like Houston, you mentioned earlier. Like if Camden Brown isn't on the Cowboys roster, I'm assuming a wide receiver needy team, Kansas City. You know, I'd be making a claim for Camden Brown. I don't know what they're going to do there. Maybe you do keep 6 wide receivers. It's difficult. Where are you going to end up going thin at? And maybe it is corner, since you get the safeties. They can also kind of freelance and give you some corner flexibility there. You know, Devin Moore, the rookie, had some highs and lows, I thought, tonight in his first game action. That's a guy that's been banged up throughout his career. Reddy Stewart, I thought, was really good last week. I got to go back and watch him a little bit more to get a better idea of how he was tonight. But, I mean, guys like Darion Kendrick, right? Amir Speed got some reps early in this game. Triquez Bridges, like, are those guys that are more practice squad than 53-man roster? I would say so, but remains to be seen. Next week, Friday night, against New Orleans, they're going to be fighting for their lives.
No question about it. I do like Amir Speed. I think Amir Speed's a guy that's going to end up making one of the roster spots here. And Devin Moore slipping on the one play down the field when he's in kind of some bump and run coverage, not getting the head around. Early mistakes there by him, but he wasn't terrible tonight either.
All right, let's keep the calls rolling. 877-881-1053. The number to call, the number to text. We'll talk with Brad Sham coming up on the other side. We'll also hear from Joe Milton coming up in a little bit as well. But let's go out to Will. Will, what's going on, man? You're on the official postgame show of the Dallas Cowboys.
Hey, gents, I appreciate y'all taking my call this evening. Long-time listener, big fan.
Appreciate you, man.
Thank you.
Hey, just wanted to get your take on a couple things. I loved your opening statement there as well regarding Camden Brown and Turpin. You know, honestly, I would rather deal Turpin than Camden at this point. I mean, I love Turpin at in the special teams, punt return, all that kind of stuff. He's got a lot of speed, but I mean, could you imagine having 88, 13, and 6 out there? I mean, you can't double everybody. I think he's got a lot more size. Put him in a slot, but it's a good problem to have. And then as far as Milton, I think his growth it's his spot to lose, like everybody's saying. And what a absolute dime he threw tonight. I mean, just a great game. But I would love to see these guys, especially Camden. I'd like to see Camden get some work with the ones a little bit. And then, CP has changed the culture on defense. If the 2s and 3s are playing this well, I can't wait to see the ones. I mean, Cowboys Nation has a lot to be excited about this year. And I'll just take your thoughts there, and I appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you, Will. Yeah, I mean, I don't think the Cowboys have any intention of moving Kevontae Turpin. Just, hey, we're recapping preseason week 2. I'm just throwing it out there because you do have an abundance of talent right now in your wide receiver room. I mean, heck, you didn't even mention Ryan Flanoy there, Will.
I know.
Ryan Flanoy is also this time last year, Ryan Flanoy is trying to make the team. He doesn't end up making it because you had such a crowded room there at wide receiver, and then you're able to get him back after the initial 53-man roster cut. So, that really is, and credit to Junior Adams, Will McClay, the scouting department, Brian Schottenheimer. They have done an excellent job of really filling that room to make it very, very difficult in about a week and a half or so on cut down day.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought up Flanoy because I think he's kind of been the forgotten man a little bit. We're at training camp. Pickens has been the star, best player at camp for the last few weeks. Of course, CeeDee Lamb's always being talked about. And then here comes Camden Brown as the underdog story bursting onto the scene. Everybody's fired up. We're even talking about Mingo a little bit more. Hey, we're finally seeing Mingo do a little something. And quietly, Flanoy has still been an absolute monster in the practices.
Yeah, the Cowboys are they're deep, man. They are deep at wide receiver right now. All right, let's hear from the voice of your Cowboys, the great Brad Sham. That opens up some lines. Make sure you stay on hold. 877-881-1053 as we recap a Cowboys 34-13 win over the Arizona Cardinals. Dallas Cowboys football will continue in a moment.
Dallas Cowboys fans know a thing or two about legacy, commitment, and loyalty. That's why Kohler is our proud partner. With more than 150 years of craftsmanship, leading-edge design, and innovation, Kohler kitchen and bathroom products stand out and stand the test of time, just like our Cowboys. Experience the Kohler difference firsthand at either the Kohler store in Dallas or in Plano, and visit Kohler.com now. Steps from AT&T Stadium, the National Medal of Honor Museum celebrates the courage, character, and service that have always defined our country. Step inside immersive exhibits. Strap into a virtual Huey rescue mission. Hear the incredibly true stories of ordinary Americans who took extraordinary action for others. Real people, real stories, real close. This is the Medal of Honor. Plan your visit today at mohmuseum.org.
Game on, and so is SWBC. Buying a home? We've got home loan options tailored to fit your needs. Need a partner for payroll, HR, and employee benefits? Done. And whether it's time to grow your business or buy a new home, our team is right there in your corner because SWBC is your partner for your family, for your business, for your wins. Forward together. Visit SWBC.com. SWBC Mortgage Corporation, NMLS number 9741. Check licensing at www.nmlsconsumeraccess.org.
You spent a career building trust, credibility, and a reputation that matters. One accusation can threaten to define you before the facts ever do. When the stakes are this high, you don't wait. You take control. You choose attorneys who understand complex cases, public scrutiny, and what's truly at risk. Barberi Law Firm defends high-profile, high-stakes criminal cases with precision, discretion, and relentless preparation. This isn't about damage control, it's about defense. Call 972-435-6620. Barberi Law Firm. Beasts in the courtroom.
With the first pick in the home comfort draft, the Dallas Cowboys select the On-Time Experts, now the official AC, heating, and plumbing partner of the Dallas Cowboys. Legendary service, thousands of 5-star reviews, and the only deep clean and tune-up that truly removes dirt, dust, and debris, the #1 killer of AC systems. Go to theontimeexperts.com and click book now to use the only pros in the air conditioning game that the Dallas Cowboys trust. theontimeexperts.com.
We all do it. You keep singing the wrong lyrics to a song even though you know they're wrong. You stick with them.
So, what you're saying is, it's I love you, babe, and not lasagna, babe?
Reminds me of how people might be sticking with the wrong insurers. But switching to Geico can get you the right coverage for the right price.
Oh, man. This whole time, I thought Fire in My Heart was referencing the heartburn from the lasagna.
I hate to break it to you, mate.
It feels good to get it right. It feels good to Geico.
Huddle up
up your teammates and head to Port Aransas to run out the clock on Island Time. Come revel in the island life. Make the catch of a lifetime in the fishing capital of Texas. Dine at open-air eateries with island fare cooked to perfection. And have a beach day on Port A's 18 miles of uninterrupted coastline. For your next getaway, chart your course for a new family tradition. Plan your stay at visitportaransas.com.
You've heard the phrase, all hat and no cattle. Well, Whataburger's Bacon Wrangler is anything but. It's got beef that's always hot off the grill. Monterey Jack and American cheese, bacon, crispy onions, chipotle aioli, and pickles. You might even say it's all cattle in a hat. A 5-inch bun hat, cowboy. The Bacon Wrangler is back, and this time it's got company. Try it Texas-sized, juniorized, or chickenized for a limited time. What a burger.
Hi, this is Saul from United Ag and Turf, your local authorized John Deere dealership. From managing championship caliber playing surfaces to tackling tough jobs every day, we deliver equipment, service, and support to get it done right. And whether you are managing a farm, commercial mowing operation, or your own property, you can count on the same team the Cowboys trust, United Ag and Turf, the official Ag and Turf equipment provider of the Dallas Cowboys.
Bell Nunley has been committed to serving their clients for over 4 decades. This Dallas-based full-service law firm offers an extensive array of legal services, including championship-level commercial litigation, mergers and acquisitions, real estate, intellectual property, and labor and employment practices. Whether it's the clients they serve, the cases they win, the people they hire, or the community they build, Bell Nunley is behind every great company. Go to bellnunley.com to learn more.
Veritiv Pollock is more than just a supplier. We're your strategic ally in facility, packaging, and retail solutions. From industrial warehouses to office buildings, schools, and retail operations, we help you lower costs, increase efficiency, and stay stocked with the products that keep your business moving forward. With over 100 years of experience, national distribution, and a commitment to innovation, Veritiv Pollock is where solved happens. Call 855-239-5153 or visit pollock.com today.
Here is a handoff to Maffa. Starts right, nothing there. Coming left, trying to get his foot to the ground. He turns the corner. 5 in the pylon. Touchdown. There's a nifty run by Maffa. And I don't care who's playing. That's just a good play.
Unbelievable run there from Phil Maffa. Gets his first touch. What's he do? Boom! 15 yards to pay dirt as the Cowboys get the 34-13 win over the Cardinals. They're 2-0 in the preseason. And joining us now to recap it all here on the official postgame show of your Dallas Cowboys, Zach Wolchuk, alongside Eric Chiafalo, the great Brad Sham. Brad, how are you? And overall, we started with that Phil Maffa call. The running backs really showed out tonight. I feel so much better than I did 3 hours ago about that room.
Do you really?
I do.
Here on the official post-game show, Brian brought us. Do you really?
I do. Yeah. I mean, my gosh, Jaden Blue was running hard in between the tackles.
This is fascinating to me. What were you uncertain about 3 hours ago that you're more certain about now?
I feel better about Jaden Blue overall than I did 3 hours ago. And when it comes to pass blocking, I thought he stood in there and he tried. He did his best. I thought between the tackles, didn't fumble the football. That's a big thing with Jaden Blue. And Malik Davis, we know what he is, but Abanikanda continues to make the most of that. I think now overall, the depth in that room where I didn't know that they had a guy, I thought they might have to go out and bring it in. I think that room showed, you know what? They got some guys that can tote the rock.
So I agree with you, but it's 1:45 in the morning, right?
Yep.
So just for the sake of the conversation, so what if I say, well, yeah, but who do you do it against?
Yeah.
I mean, that's the second and third strings of a bad football team. I'm just giving you. I'm playing devil's advocate.
Oh, for sure.
I agree. I don't know if I would go so far as to say I feel better, because, I mean, it's always reassuring in the case of Jaden Blue to see him do some of the things that you knew he could do, but he hasn't done them in a while. And and the inside running in particular. But we've seen him do a little bit of that. But he's a different player. I mean, Maffa I think I saw plenty of that in Oxnard. He did that on a kind of a regular basis when he got a chance in Oxnard. So, I do think they have some depth. I don't know that I feel that much differently about it than I did 3 hours ago, but it's certainly reassuring to see, especially Blue, do that.
Brad, is this the Barham that you had been seeing in Oxnard before you had the groin issue?
Yeah, and I think that we still haven't seen anything. That is the literal tip of the iceberg.
Mm-hmm.
This is a guy who's going to play like his hair is on fire. He loves violent contact, and he is a smart young man, and they recognize that. I'll tell you, Zach, you talk about feeling better than you did 3 hours ago. With each successive opportunity we get to see the result of the coaching of this defensive staff, I feel better. I mean, I feel better than I did a month ago. I feel better than I did last week. And my same second guess applies who they do it against. But they're different. They're paying attention. They are doing things. Fair enough, the Cowboys had a lot of not good players on defense last year, but they weren't playing the way these guys are playing, and I feel good about that. And I think, Eric, the really fun thing about Barham is we haven't seen anything yet.
Yeah.
I'm now fully stoked to see him get turned loose against the Giants.
Brad Sham with us here in the official Brian Broaddus postgame show on the Dallas Cowboys radio network.
Attaboy.
The wide receiver room, I mean, we've been talking about that, and they're going to have to decide, how many they want to keep. But again, Mingo, Camden Brown, I think you saw some things that they've been stacking up great weeks. What do you think about the overall depth that they have at wide receiver in those decisions?
Did you hear the talk show question I threw specifically to you guys before halftime?
No.
See, you should listen to the radio. The question I asked Babe, which he refused to answer, is...
come on, Babe.
Because he, Babe has said since last week, Camden Brown's on your team.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm fine with that. Not just off 3 catches in Seattle. Seen him practice every day. Okay. Mingo's been here 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
Last week was the best football I've ever seen him play. Route running, not just catching the ball, route running, blocking, and then not to mention the play on the punt last week. Now we see today. So the talk show question I pose to you, and I pose it, as they say, without prejudice. I am not recommending anything. But you raise a very good point, and that is, what are they going to do? They got too many guys.
Yep.
So would you, and if we agree that Brown is on the team,
mm-hmm.
which, it's not our decision to make, but we're all in agreement, we'd keep him. So you can trade or cut Mingo, or you can keep Mingo and keep Brown. And what could you get for Kevontae Turpin?
Okay, this is brilliant, because we've actually been. I asked this to Brian, and I was like, Brian, tell me what the Gang of Seven would say if Kevontae Turpin was floated out there. What's his value? Response he got, pretty darn good value. Now, I mean, it raises the question, what are you going to do with kick returner? But I think you can find kick and punt returners. I would be very open to this idea, Brad. I don't know if the Cowboys were, but as we're just sitting here as a talk show, I think you got to at least consider that.
I think you have to find out what. I would say this. We've all seen Turpin at his best. Take all the time you want and tell me about all the big kick return plays he made last year.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Take all the time you want. We're on till 2 o'clock in the morning.
Sure.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
So, and I don't know what the financial aspects are with his contract. If there's a hit you take, you're not going to cut him. I mean, I wouldn't cut him. I am uncomfortable relying on him as an offensive weapon, because first of all, when you start running the jet sweeps, teams can play to that. And it's got to be a very specific kind of route and pass to spring him in the passing game. He's little, and he now you saw what Mingo did with that double move deep ball.
Yeah.
And so I'm not advocating. I want to be very clear. I'm not advocating trading Kevontae Turpin. I am saying I would sure be interested to know. First of all, you have to know, what do they really think of Mingo? If, again, we're agreed that Brown's on the team, what do you really think of Mingo? Do you trust him? You trust him in a game? Do you trust him against the Eagles? Do you trust him against the Ravens? If you do, what could you get for Turpin?
Sure.
And I think I'm not recommending they do it, but I do think it's an interesting thing to find out what would that bring.
Yeah, we're in 100% agreement right there. You certainly don't want to cut one of these guys, and they get to just leave for free.
They can't. There's no way they can keep Anthony Smith, right? He's a cinch to be on the practice squad. And Babe made a great point. Every year, you say, "Well, we can't cut that guy because we couldn't get him through waivers." But the fact is, almost every team has a guy like that.
Yeah.
And most of the time, they get through waivers. Now, I don't know if Mingo would get through waivers. I don't know if Brown would get through waivers. So you first have to say to yourself, can I live with losing him? And then if you say, I don't know if I can live with that, then you look at, but they're going to have, I want Smith on the practice squad. I want Valdez-Scantling on the practice squad for the things that he brings as a veteran. And if he's playing special teams 9 years in, for crying out loud. So, they've got more good players than they can keep, and that's a good thing.
Yeah, it is a good thing. Joe Milton was outstanding tonight. What stands out to you most about his development?
The way he's playing the position. Calmness that we didn't see a year ago under duress. Watch his feet. They're a lot steadier. And making better decisions. I just always think that at that position, almost everybody who's playing that position in the NFL is a good player. He can run, he can throw, he can make most of the throws. All of them can. The question is, who can make the good decisions? And we didn't see that from Milton, I didn't think, a year ago. But, you talk about feeling better than you did 3 hours ago, Zach. I think that I feel better about Milton every time I see him in that role, and I think that was why it was important for him to start the game tonight. Different kind of setting, different kind of situations. So my answer would be the decision making and the overall playing of the quarterback position.
Brad, we didn't get to talk to you about this in the pregame, but I wonder your thoughts on the Von Miller edition.
Oh, I love it. I mean, what in the world? There's no downside. No. I mean, anybody who thinks they're getting Denver Von Miller is nuts. I saw somebody say on the Twitter X, well, he's not better than Micah Parsons. Well, who said he was? Of course he's not better than Micah Parsons now. Now, he will make everybody better just for being around him. And if you saw, look, I saw practice Thursday, and he put on pads on his second day, and he had 4 pass rushes, and on 2 of them he had what would have been pressures. And no, is he playing the best offensive tackles in the league? No. But he can still play. There is no downside to having Von Miller with the person he is and what he can still do on the football field. No downside.
Brad, thank you so much, my friend. We'll chat with you again on Friday. Safe travels. Yeah. What do you got?
Wait, don't cut me off yet, because I know you didn't hear our sign-off. I just want people to think about this. Again, I'm not saying anything. I'm just pointing out a fact. Last time they were 2-0 in the preseason, 2007.
Uh-huh.
And does that mean they're going to win however many games? No. It's preseason. Doesn't mean anything. But they haven't done it since 2007. And in my mind, the 2007 team was the best team they've had since the last Super Bowl team. that didn't get where they wanted to go. The best. They were the number one seed. They were 13-3. They spit the bit against that same Giants team, who went on the road, beat whoever it was the week before, beat Dallas, beat Green Bay, and then went and beat the unbeaten Patriots.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying they're going to do that. I'm saying I think something's happening. And they haven't looked like this in preseason in 19 years. So do with that what you will.
It's exciting.
I'm going to take it home and I'm going to cuddle with it tonight, Brad. It's going to help me sleep better.
Good. God bless you.
Thank you, Brad.
You might want to use it Monday.
We appreciate you. Safe travels home, my friend.
All right, fellas. Thank you.
There he is, the voice of your Dallas Cowboys, the legendary Brad Sham. Goodness gracious, if they could go 13-3, get the number one seed, how much fun would that be? Let's go ahead and pause 10 seconds for station identification across the Dallas Cowboys radio network.
This is the exclusive home of Dallas Cowboys football. KRLD-FM and HD1, Dallas-Fort Worth. Let's go, Cowboys.
An Odyssey sports station.
I guess it would have to be 14-3 now, or 13-4, since they've got an extra game.
That's right.
Compared to what they had in 2007.
Sounds like an extra win to me.
Trust the team at blockchain.com. You can make buying, selling, and trading crypto easy. Invest like an icon with blockchain.com. And make sure you're checking out that National Medal of Honor Museum just steps away from AT&T Stadium. The National Medal of Honor Museum showcases the stories of the ordinary Americans who took extraordinary action in the service of others. Real people, real courage, real clothes. Plan your visit at mohmuseum.org. That's mohmuseum.org. Another hour with you as we roll on here on the postgame show. 877-881-1053. We'll get back to the phones. We'll hear from Joe Milton and more. You're listening to the Dallas Cowboys Radio Network.
Picture yourself making your morning coffee. You know those few minutes while the water and the beans do their thing? Instead of scrolling, what
DallasCowboys.com. Keep track of the boys with daily podcasts and up-to-the-minute blogging at DallasCowboys.com and on the official Dallas Cowboys app.
At the 45, and Milton is back. All kinds of time. He airs this out deep. He got a man left. Mingo at the 15-10. Mingo dances in. Bingo, bango, mingo. Touchdown, Cowboys.
That is our What a Play of the Game, brought to you by the Salvation Army. Give with joy. My goodness, what a picture-perfect play. The double move from Jonathan Mingo, then an absolutely pristine pass from Joe Milton, hitting him right in the breadbasket to waltz on into the end zone as the Cowboys get a 34-13 win over the Arizona Cardinals, 2-0 now on the preseason 2026 calendar, and they'll look to have a perfect preseason with a win at home over New Orleans. Hopefully this one is not as chippy as their joint practice was on Tuesday in Oxnard, but that'll be on Friday night, AT&T Stadium. Cowboys conclude the preseason hosting the New Orleans Saints. Zach Wolchuk alongside Eric Chiafalo, the official postgame show of the Dallas Cowboys. Shout out to our guy Brian Broaddus as well. Out tonight. He'll be back next week. Send him some well wishes, the official Brian Broaddus postgame here. But we do want to hear from your head coach, Brian Schottenheimer. Here with Shotty postgame.
We know these are preseason games, but obviously from hearing the locker room, how important is it just to be 2-0, considering how good you look tonight?
Yeah, I think, the wins are great. I've always thought, because my dad said it, the preseason record is never remembered. But I think what we've shown the last two games is there's a play style about this team, whoever's in the game, and that's one of physicality, effort, playing together, and I do think that we played that way tonight for really 4 quarters, and I'm proud of the guys for that.
Obviously, you want to get the tape, but first glance, how and Milton, how do you think they fared?
Yeah, I mean, again, I think Joe's put together 2 really, really good halves. Sam really made one mistake, down in the red zone. Kind of got fooled on one and turned it over. That can't happen, but this is long from over, and going back to Frisco, thankfully, and get a chance to be home and put some more training camp days in. But got to give Joe his credit. He's played really well the last 2 games, but we have a lot of confidence in Sam as well.
Clarence Hill, DLLS Cowboys. Just piggybacking on Joe, can you just talk about his growth and development? Touchy show, he was a big, strong guy, but touchdown throw was a sort of strong arm, but the toss to Brown, he eluded defenders and kind of directed him to the spot to make that play. Yeah, I think, it's funny because we threw the double move to Mingo off of a timeout, and that was kind of the last reminder that Steve Shimko gave him is, hey, put good air under it, and Joe's been doing that. I mean, he's just, the fade to Cam Brown last game, under duress. This game is about being able to control the RPMs of the football and throw it with different speeds and touches, and he's done that at a really high level. But I thought the scramble to his left to Cam was a big play as well, and then he was able to get in with his leg. So the touchdown to Malik, stepped up in the pocket, running to his left, just kind of from me to you a little bit, and he just kind of took a little something off and gave Malik a chance to catch and go. So really proud of him. You brought up Malik, you talked about the running back bounce, Malik did what Malik does, and then I thought you make Joe Jadon Blue had his strong game.
Yeah, we wanted to see him. He's been banged up a little bit. He's had a shoulder, and we wanted to see how he would do. But I thought, again, want to see the film, but I thought he ran hard, and we wanted to lean on him early in the third quarter and see how he did. But, all in all, I thought he ran well, had some really nice runs, a couple 11, 12-yarders I thought they were really good. But he ran physically, which I think is important.
Nick Heatman, DallasCowboys.com. Coach, I don't know if this has been your experience, but it seems like, in the last game before you go home, it can be that last day of school mentality where it's hard to get real good focus. Are you proud of the way they locked in on this one before heading back?
Yeah, I think so. That doesn't surprise me, Nick. I think, this group of guys, we sat, I think, 29 guys weren't dressed tonight. These guys that played were playing for something. They want to be part of this family. They want to be part of the star of the brand. And, I have to say this because I mentioned in there, but, I saw something that I've never seen, an entire fan section cheering for, Pete Shiaz, and that was really, really cool. And, it was really awesome. Had him break it down, and his comments, I'll let him share those with you guys, but it's really cool. We talked about the brotherhood, and But I didn't think these guys would have any let up.
Pretty cool moment for sure for Chaz Pete there. He went back out onto the field postgame after he got showered, went and talked to the thousands of fans from the Navajo Nation that were here first ever to make it into the NFL with your Dallas Cowboys. And at 6'9", to see him playing guard and the ability to still just bet, it's just crazy to me. And I don't know that he's going to make the team, but sure, practice squad guy, developmental type of player, all around just good dude to have in the locker room, good teammate. Pretty awesome there. But, I mean, I think the Cowboys, in terms of the quarterback room, and it's nothing against Cooper Rush or anybody that they've had here before, but I think right now, just the play we've seen from Joe Milton and Sam Howell, I think you do feel pretty darn good about the depth after Dak Prescott. I think ultimately they're going to end up keeping 3 quarterbacks. Maybe it's 2, and they'll see, like, hey, what happens with Sam Howell? Can they end up getting him back on the roster if he does end up not making the initial 53? But both quarterbacks, outside of the interception from Sam Howell tonight, I think through 2 preseason games, they both look pretty damn good.
Yeah, for sure. But Milton, the upside and the ceiling for him is just so much higher, and seeing the growth and the maturation from him, and Brad was talking about it, just being in total command of the offense, playing in rhythm, and then when the opportunity opens up to get a little bit more off script, working outside the pocket, the arm, the cannon, but then the accuracy and the touch. You heard Shotty talking about that. For a long time, it was Joe Milton just wanting to rocket everything in, no matter if it's just a dump-off pass or if it's a deep ball, and you're starting to see him understand, okay, this one I can just touch pass it in here. Just much more catchable footballs across the board, and he just looks so much more comfortable, and that is a huge credit to Shotty, Adams, and the offensive staff for getting him to a place where we never saw McCarthy get Trey Lance.
No.
And that's, of course, credit to Joe Milton as well.
Yeah,
but
and just knowing the offense, feeling so much more comfortable, but 100% the development. And without a doubt, I mean, Joe Milton, the strides that he's made, he deserves a ton of praise. Tonight, he was brilliant. He really, really was. All right, let's go back out to the phones, 877-881-1053. Big Jim's been waiting patiently. What's going on, Jim?
Well, fellas, it's good to talk to you on this fine Sunday morning. We want to send out our best to our dear friend Brian Broderson. Hope he gets feeling better. I assume he has put the phone away and he's sleeping. Let me tell you what, I was very, very pleased about one particular thing. I think when y'all watch the film, I've been just watching this game over again. Yeah. Our wide receivers are blocking like I've never seen Cowboy receivers block. They certainly didn't do this when Mike McCarthy was the coach. Of course, it's preseason. These guys are all fighting for a roster spot somewhere. But I was very pleased on that Moffa touchdown. He got there because those wide receivers was blocking for him, and I think that's very important. I think that's kind of what we lack. And if they're doing small things. This Barham kid, that boy plays like his hair is on fire. I ain't seen nothing like him. And he's like a freight train. And they say he doesn't talk too much. I bet he just says, or, but I like him all right. I think he's good. It's just kind of hard for me to see us. I know y'all was talking with Mr. Sham earlier about Devontae Turpin, and Sham brought that up last week on the postgame too. You remember that Bully? He was saying that maybe in a quiet room that them coaches and the Joneses might let him go. But boys, I think if he gets the privilege of focusing on being a return man, that can turn a game over. That can take you from being deep in your own territory to good punt return, good kickoff return. I don't know. I don't know how I feel about that. I get that we're wanting to keep 6 receivers and 25 safeties and linebackers and all that, but that'd be very tough. But Mingo is showing something. He's starting to look like he did back when he played at Ole Miss. But I don't know. I like Brown, but you nosebleeders did a good job running point on the pre and the halftime and the post game. Chief, it's good to have you on the post game, and of course we want Brian back, but you know how I feel about you fellas. Y'all are just two of the best friends I've never met, but do appreciate you and appreciate what you do for all of America's team and all the fans out there.
Well, we appreciate you, Jim. Thank you so much. Just trying to hold it down the best we can without Brian. But yeah, it's been fun. It's always fun when we get get back in our natural environment here in the safe space together.
100%, man.
But and after a Cowboy game like that, good vibes right now. I mean, it does. I get it. I get what Brad's trying to say because he's right. I think ultimately Arizona probably is going to be one of the worst teams in football this year. But when you look at what they did tonight, plus doing it against the defending Super Bowl champion Seahawks, there's a lot of positives to take away right now from what we're seeing at the depth of this Cowboys team.
Yeah, we've seen the Cowboys backups suck versus sucky teams for many years in the preseason. So this was a nice thing to see, especially with young guys that you think are really going to be something that you could lean on at some point, whether it's this year or down the line. In respect to Big Jim for the way that he's watching ball, he's out here watching the game, talking about wide receivers blocking. Like that is football guy of the day for Big Jim right there. Man. And it's hugely important. It is hugely important when you look at the best teams and you look at the best offenses. Look what Kyle Shanahan does. Look what Sean McVay does. Look at Puka Nacua, Cooper Kupp, all these guys. Even Brandon Ayuk. I know he has short-circuited and become a completely different version of himself, but he was a heck of a receiver, and he was a really good blocker as well. Jeff Hafley, the new head coach of the Dolphins, just said about his wide receivers, if you don't, no block, no rock. It is hugely important. It's just like having corners that are willing to get physical and make tackles. It's like that takes your defense to another level. It takes your offense to another level as well. And Mingo is a guy who, for most of his career, that's been the best. That's been his fastball. It's like, I'm a receiver who doesn't really do much in the way of receiving production, but I can block. It's nice to see him be able to catch the football now as well. But yeah, that goes a huge way for an offense.
100%, and especially when you're trying to generate more explosives in the run game, that's a great way to do it. You have these guys blocking on the edge. That's another way to turn a 5-yard run into a 10-yard run, a 10-yard run into a 20-yard run. You need these guys blocking downfield because once these backs get to the second, third level, that's going to help tremendously.
And it just goes back to the buy-in and the respect that they have for the coaching staff. Like, these guys, they want to be here. It's all Shoddy's talking about the play style, the physicality, the toughness, the effort. That's a perfect example of that.
Absolutely. 100% it is. All right, let's keep the phones going. 877-881-1053. We'll hear from Joe Milton coming up on the other side as well. Let's go out. We got Dave in Hurst. Dave, what's going on, man? You're on the official postgame show of the Dallas Cowboys.
Pretty good, man. I enjoy your show. My prayers go out to Broadus, but who's filling in? Whoever's filling in was doing a great job. So hats off to you.
Thank you
for rocking it, man. Who is it? Who's doing? What's your name?
I'm Eric Chiafalo. Great to meet you.
Okay, yeah. I listened to you on the G-Bag Nation. Okay, I'm sorry, man. Long day.
Yeah, you got Wolchuk, you got Chiafalo, you got two G-baggers here.
Okay, cool. Yeah, you guys rock it. Anyway, a lot to like about this team, as that everybody's been pointing out all night. But we know that if Dak stays upright and you block for him, he's the best in the league. But that tackle position has been questionable, as you know. I understand Taylor Decker's out on the street. So what if he's $13 million? Bring him in.
Yeah, I think the issue with guys like Decker and Conklin is just the health, Dave. I think that's what teams are trying to balance, and also how much do they want to play. I think those guys have been flirting with retirement, and I think that's one of the big question marks when you kind of just try and. I know Brian's talked with some people around the league, and some of the feedback is, one, do they want to play football, and then two, the health. I mean, how available are they going to be? That's the problem. A lot of these guys, if they're not signed, if they're not on a team, one, it's because they probably don't want to participate in training camp, so they're just going to wait till they get into the season. But two, there's a reason, and there's some baggage there as to why they're not on an NFL roster.
Yeah, the health factor is everything. And this is a league that is desperate for quality offensive linemen, especially offensive tackles. The fact that those guys are still available, something's going on.
All right, let's get our defensive stand of the game. We'll hear from Joe Milton. That opens up a couple lines, 877-881-1053. Dallas Cowboys football will continue in a moment.
From retirement planning to insurance, SWBC has customized solutions to help individuals and businesses. Visit swbc.com to learn more.
Hi, this is Saul.
Go.
Back and looking and standing and throwing left. The receiver fell down. It's intercepted. 25, 20, 15, Rebel. He was looking for former Cowboy Simi Fehoko, who fell down, and Savon Rebel said, I know what to do with this. And there's the first takeaway of the night, and a 22-yard return for Rebel.
There's our guy, Savon Rebel, as that is our defensive stand of the game, brought to you by WinStar, proud to be the casino of the Dallas Cowboys. Please game responsibly. Another guy, now he did get flagged for that one. He gets a little grabby. That was an issue that we saw out there at Oxnard. He just we talked about him when we had him on the show on the flagship, the G-Bag Nation, which you can catch 2 to 7 p.m. weekdays. But, I think he's been as advertised, man. He's been everything that I think we were hoping he would be going into year 2. He's taken that jump. If he can just figure out past 5 yards, let's just work on the hand fighting, not necessarily be as grabby, but I think Savon Rebel is about to have a really, really nice year 2 in the NFL.
Yeah, it looks like a totally different player. The athleticism, the speed, the burst, all that kind of stuff, the confidence. It's fantastic to see. Christian Parker, this is his expertise, and when you get a talent like Savon Rebel, you know he's going to get the most out of him. So I'm confident in Rebel as well, and I loved on that interception, the pressure on that play on the quarterback was Malachi Lawrence coming off the left side of the defense, working on that right tackle, getting in the face of the quarterback, errant throw, slipped wide receiver, bang, bang, let's go. Just fun to see young, premium-type assets turning into in-game big moments.
And then the offense able to turn that into points, right afterwards, I think was big. And with those guys out on the field, more of the guys you're going to see probably on Sundays with Barham, with Revel, with Lawrence, the interception, and then a punt. 3 and out. I mean, that's what that defense was able to do. I mean, throughout the entire game, you had a couple of turnover on downs as well. I mean, this Cowboys defense through the first 2 weeks looking much improved. Zach Wolchuk alongside Eric Chiafalo as we hang out with you on the official postgame show of your Dallas Cowboys. Let's get back to the phones, 877-881-1053. JC in Panama City. JC, what's going on, man? Thank you for your patience.
Good morning, fellas.
Morning.
So I've kind of been, over the past week, I've been running some numbers, and it caught my ear when Jerry said in his training camp press conference that he was talking to some owners, right? And the Houston Texans are expected to be $60 million over the cap next year.
Okay.
Danielle Hunter is on a 1-year deal for $40 million, but they paid him $32 million up front. His cap hit is only $12 million. What do y'all think about going and getting Danielle Hunter on this team?
I'd love it. I kind of think I love that call. Thank you very much. I think that makes a lot of sense because especially with C.J. Stroud, if they do indeed want to extend him, they're paying Will Anderson Jr. a ton of money. There's going to be tough decisions that the Texans are going to have to make, especially when you're talking the surplus that the Cowboys have at wide receiver, right? That's something that the Texans desperately need right now with the injuries. I don't know that they'd be willing to part with Danielle Hunter right now. I think that would probably be more of a trade deadline move, and I think that's where the Cowboys will make the splash. I don't know that that's going to happen before the season. I think it would be one similar to what the Quinnen Williams trade was, where if this team proves to the front office, hey, we're legit, we can do something this year, then the sense of urgency will be even more heightened to where I think trade deadline is where you would get a move like that. But I love the idea.
Listen, I do too. Fantasyland is a wonderful place to find yourself from time to time. Danielle Hunter's an absolute monster. In no world are the Texans moving on from Danielle Hunter. They are a team that feels like they're a championship contender, probably the best defense in football. I mean, just absolutely ridiculously
them in
dominant.
Denver.
Yeah, and Seattle, of course, as well. There's a handful of fantastic defenses, but the Texans are right up there.
Yep.
And Danielle Hunter's a big reason why. That's a team that wants to contend. If they completely implode due to injury or C.J. Stroud's short-circuiting or whatever at the deadline, maybe they decide, hey, expiring contract, let's go ahead and do this. But in no way, shape, or form do I see that happening. The reason why the Crosby stuff makes sense is because the Raiders are a bad team. Inevitably, they would be the selling-type team at the deadline.
And they did trade trade him.
Well, yeah.
And they showed you, like, yes, we're down to trade this player.
Yeah, they actually executed a trade for about 48 hours or whatever that was.
That's still such a bizarre story that happened.
It's insane. So I do love the number crunching. Unfortunately, Hunter's, that's about as untouchable as it gets right now, I would imagine.
All right, let's go to E in Irving. E, what's going on, man? You're on the official postgame show of the Dallas Cowboys.
Hey, how's it going, guys? Nice to talk to y'all. Long-time listener, third-time caller.
Welcome.
G-Bag, Tolo, for life.
Thank you.
Now, my thing was, when I'm watching the defense now over the last few days, it looks different, like, as far as the fundamentals of it, like breaking through blocks, getting off blocks, and the tackling looks a lot better, too. And, shout out to Christian Parker for that. And I just think that, Barham looked like a monster out there tonight. I agree with the other caller on that. If he's not starting, that would be kind of weird. I know they can't, play him the whole game, but he looked pretty good to be coming off a groin injury. Also, I think that to see the light come on for Joe Milton actually looks pretty good, too, y'all. I don't try to get too overexcited. I've been a Cowboys fan my whole life, but I don't try to get too overexcited with stuff like this. But I think that one thing that y'all guys might have talked about, but I didn't hear it yet, is how Dak is going to have to he's going to have to answer the questions at practice every day that we didn't know if he can answer in the big games. But he's going to be answering those questions at practice every day for the whole year. So that made me feel good, too, y'all. Y'all have a good night.
Yeah, I mean, certainly Tyler Smith, I think, has talked about it as well, getting to practice against Quinnen Williams and Kenny Clark and just how much better. Dak will use the phrase iron sharpens iron, but they actually do have that now when you talk about, I think, Revel, a big reason why he's improved. You get to go against CeeDee Lamb and George Pickens and Ryan Flanoy every single day in practice.
And Camden Brown.
And Jonathan Mingo.
How about that?
My gosh. And Gavante Turpin. I mean, it is. I mean, that naturally will make you better. You don't want to overreact to two preseason games, especially one against the Arizona Cardinals. But when you consider the fact that the Cowboys struggle to beat the Cardinals, it's exciting. The arrow does seem to be pointing up. I love the way that this team is out there playing, and defensively they do. I mean, the way that they're aggressive, tackling. But I think the penalties are something tonight that did stand out in a positive way, especially on special teams. Shadi talked about that in the visit with Brad Sham last week. I mean, I think special teams, when we were talking the post-game show, was like, that was disgusting. They did take a nice step by at least just being cleaner on that side of the football.
Yeah, and defensively, he's right. I mean, it's very vanilla right now. It's going to be very exciting to see Christian Parker and all the bells and whistles that he has from a schematic standpoint when it comes to this defense. But just the sound nature, the fundamentals, all that kind of stuff, the physicality, guys being where they're supposed to be and making the plays when they're supposed to make them, all of that, it just looks like a much more cohesive unit right now than certainly what it did last year.
877-881-1053, the number to call, the number to text, 877-881-1053. All right, a couple more calls to get to. Let's get to Randy in California. Randy, what's going on?
Hey, guys, thanks for taking my call. I'm just going good. My only one question is just with Sam Williams and Maris Leofau. There's nothing there that makes me confident in these guys. Like, it just looks like it's so hard for them to set the edge on run plays. Leofau is totally playing out of position. I don't know how the coaching staff can see Leofau as a wheel linebacker and say, let's try to put him at edge and see what happens. I just don't. I think it's a disservice to him. And someone like Sam Williams has been on this team. I think he's going into his fourth, fifth year, or going into his fifth year, and he's either going against third string offensive linemen or backup ones, and it's for someone with a second round pick pedigree and so much upside coming out of college, you would feel like he should be shining, but it just doesn't really seem that much. And then that's about it. Just get your opinions on that. And then last thing, hey, it's good these preseason games are happening because it looks like the Commanders are showing respect for Jaden Daniels in his number 5 because it looks like they don't want to give him 5 good quality offensive linemen. All right, I'm out.
Thank you, Randy. I appreciate the call. Yeah, I mean, that is the loss of Laramie Tunsil is just huge inside the Division I. I mean, that offensive line has been kind of hot and cold anyway.
Yeah.
but you lose arguably your best one for the majority of the season. That is a tough blow and a tough pill to swallow for Jaden Daniels and the Commanders. Certainly going to hurt them. I mean, they got our guy Dan Quinn on the hot seat already. I mean, the NFC Championship to missing the playoffs. What are you going to do in year 3? That's a big question. But I'm with you. I mean, I think Sam Williams and Maris Leaf, as soon as they brought in Von Miller, and it might have been, I think Sam was having a solid training camp, but it's just one of those things where he makes the same mistakes in game, and that's what sucks. He's a liability against the run, and then it's just kind of the penalties. We've talked about that throughout his entire career. And for Maris, I think at times, like tonight, you mentioned it, he was in great rush, gets in the right position, just can't finish the play. Those are two guys that probably have one foot out the door with roster cuts coming up.
100%. I mean, Sam Williams has never been able to put it all together. It's unfortunate. He's physically so impressive, athletic, explosive, all those things. You mentioned the liability against the run. He's not showing up in a big way versus second and third stringers for one of the worst teams in the league when it comes to a pass rush standpoint. So there's no question both of those guys are probably on the way out unless they just love what they bring on special teams. But I don't see that being the case.
All right, it's 1:30 in the morning. Typically, I don't think I would take this call in the postgame show, but we've got a guy wanting to do a Scarface impression. Diego Montoya has been waiting on hold. This better be incredible, Diego. How the hell you doing?
Hi, how you doing, man?
We're good, Diego.
Hi, is this Woodchuck?
Yep.
How's your new house, man? Joe Milton looked great tonight, man. He was pretty good. And, Jaden Blue, say hello to my little friend, And Brian Broaddus, I hope he gets better. And I know he don't really like Von Miller. And I love that he's on the Cowboys, but a little more morphine. They love him in the morning.
I appreciate the call, brother. Thank you so much. House is going well. House is good. Drive's a little bit longer, I'll say that, but gosh, it's a blessing. We're loving it. We're loving being in the new house, and certainly best wishes to Brian. He has not texted us tonight. I was a little bit surprised. I thought he would have FOMO. You think it's possible that Brian slept through this game and is going to rewatch it tomorrow in the morning?
The only way he slept through this game is if he is extremely medicated.
I think he might be.
If they pumped.
Was he tweeting? Was he firing off tweets?
I
haven't looked.
I don't think so. I have not noticed.
I don't see a single tweet. He has not tweeted in 16 hours.
Maybe, dude. This would. I would guess.
He's down bad if that's the case.
Oh, for sure. This is the first regular season or preseason game that he hasn't watched live in, I think, like 150 years.
Goodness. That is a long time.
Minimum.
At least. He was there when football started.
Yeah.
Our guy, Brian Broaddus, was there.
He was there in lockstep with Gil Brandt, just scouting him out,
Him
dude,
and Gil.
from freaking day one.
We love you, Brian, and we miss you, bro. We can't wait to get you back. But yes, well wishes, and thank you so much for all the calls and texts. 877-881-1053. That leaves us with one segment to go. We'll get our drive of the game. We'll get our player of the game, and we'll hear from Joe Milton. You're listening to the Dallas Cowboys Radio Network.
The ultimate getaway for Cowboys fans, it's waiting in the Bahamas. Trade the field for white sands, the crowd noise for ocean breezes, and discover paradise in Nassau, Exuma, or the Out Islands. There's a perfect play for every fan. Score exclusive travel
Cowboys, brought to you by AT&T. Connecting changes everything. WinStar World Casino and Resort, proud to be the casino of the Dallas Cowboys. Please game responsibly. Pepsi, football's back. Tailgating deserves Pepsi. Blockchain.com. Invest like an icon with Blockchain.com. And by Miller Lite, the only beer of the Cowboys. It's Miller time.
Milton under pressure, scampers out to the left, throws on the run, caught at the 5. Malik Davis dances into the end zone. Touchdown, Cowboys. A good improvisation by Milton and a great job by Malik Davis of staying alive and getting to where his quarterback could find him. In soccer, they call that making yourself available.
Absolutely they do, Brad, as that was our drive of the game. Now, 3 plays, 12 yards, 49 seconds, bang, touchdown. Now, why the drive of the game there? Well, it followed the interception from Savona Rebel, and not always is this team able to capitalize off a turnover and end in the end zone. They did there on what was an excellent play from Joe Milton to Malik Davis, 34-13. Cowboys get the win. They're 2-0 in the preseason. If you didn't know, first time since 2007, as Brad Sham shared with us. Zach Wolchuk, Eric Chiafalo, the official postgame show of your Dallas Cowboys. We're with you until 2 a.m. here Central Time. I know we got people listening from all over the country, but we're hanging out with you. We also have our player of the game.
Milton blitzed, steps up, runs left. Coxon throws on the run wide open. 45-50. Cam Brown, bye-bye. 20, 15. Spins at the 5. Dives forward. Fumbles it out of bounds at the 1.
And shout out to Cam Brown. That was a hell of a play. Our player of the game is indeed Joe Milton. And Joe Milton, who was great in the first half of this one before Sam Howell took over the quarterback duties. But Joe, 9 of 13, 179 yards, a couple of touchdowns. Also had a rushing touchdown. And this one, Joe Milton, our play of the game, brought to you by Papa's Brothers Steakhouse. Thanks to Papa's Brothers Steakhouse for sending Joe Milton home with a gift card for today's performance. Shout out to Joe. And afterwards, Joe Milton catching up with the media.
Comfort level tonight was great. Was able to go out there and showcase what I got, what we've been working hard towards this whole camp. So it was great. My comfort level was amazing. Way more confident than I was last year.
You had a bunch of big plays, obviously, tonight with this offense. What type of play do you get more satisfaction from? Deep ball to Mingo, escaping and finding Camden on that 70-yarder? Which one?
All of them. They all opportunities to move the ball down the field, and that's what we're here to do, so all of them for sure.
What are you most proud of, I guess, with how you progressed this far into it?
That I'm able to go in the huddle and just say the play clear, tell the guys where they need to go, and if guys have questions in the huddle, I'm able to answer those without just making sure with my coach and making sure that I'm right. I'm able to be confident enough to tell them what they got in the huddle and demand that from them guys. So.
How do you think the line did with the run game? Seems like it's a little faster stretch.
It was great. I feel like the O-line played great tonight. I don't think you can do it no better than that. Obviously, there's things that we need to clean up on, but for the most part, majority of the whole game, they did a great job running the ball. So.
You said earlier in the week that you had maybe 75, 85% of the playbook this time last year. How much of a difference have you seen that 25 to 15% make?
Man, major difference. You get to do a lot more. When I say that, there's a lot more to our offense that we able to do, change as the quarterback position. So you're able to do all that. You're able to make sure that your points is right, making sure the way that you're reading the play is correct. So just being able to go through that process of a whole year being in this offense until now, it's great.
Footwork and how it's improved, talking about keeping a better base and things like that. Where have you seen it kind of translate, and what's went into that?
I think it's all about just being intentional. I was real intentional the whole fall camp with just my base, and then when I go into games, just pretty much just thinking about my base, especially when I'm taking my drops. I kind of just get my mental process done faster. Shout out to just the hard work that we all put in, but
I just really just thinking about it now. Just using that as my top focus after I get, my read down and everything else. But after I say the drop to myself, only thing I keep saying is base.
There he is. It is Joe Milton, our player of the game. And Joe, I mean, it is telling when he's like, man, one thing that's nice is just being able to go and confidently give the play call in the huddle. And that's what night and day do. I mean, I'm sure that's probably, you think it's the most basic thing. I think we kind of underestimate just how freaking smart these NFL quarterbacks have to be when you're regurgitating what seems like a paragraph for each individual play call, and you have to know everybody's responsibility. I mean, just watch any of these NFL the quarterback show, Hard Knocks. Like, the job of a quarterback in the NFL, you've got to know so much detail. It's unbelievable.
Yeah. The mental load on these guys is ridiculous, and then you also have to couple that with the physical ability to handle what you have to handle with the best athletes in the world. So it is really fun to just see sort of the experiment of raw tools with Joe Milton and clearly needing a ton of refinement and development. And then slowly but surely you see him start to click into gear. And he looked like a natural tonight and really last week as well. And so, and we got a chance to sit down with him. The only time we've gotten to was at the Super Bowl this past year in San Francisco. And what an awesome dude.
Really good guy.
An awesome personality, fun guy to chat with, and it made you root for him even more. So it's super exciting to see him perform the way he's performing right now. And again, so much credit to the offensive coaching staff for the way they've been able to coach him up and develop him. And it seems like you have that on the offensive side of the ball, real teachers of the sport, and you're starting to see the glimpses of it on the defensive side too, man. Like, it's hard not to get excited.
I know. Let's just do it. Let's just get excited. Let's just let ourselves do it.
Let's go, dude. I'm ready. And it's not just Joe Milton. Shoddy talked about it from the day he got here, wanting to build the best culture in all sports, right. And you gotta be able to find the right guys to do that. And I think there were some blind spots pre-Shoddy when it comes to some of the guys that they were bringing in, the football character, all that kind of stuff. And it seems like every single guy they have now that we've gotten to interact with is
just good people.
Good, solid people.
That love football.
Great teammates, love football, and they want to be the best versions of themselves, and they want to win a Super Bowl.
Yep.
Quinnen Williams, Rashawn Gary, Savone Revel, George Pickens. Like, I don't know what the heck was going on in Pittsburgh. Completely different guy
Night
now.
and day.
Completely different guy now.
It is,
His work environment is so much better, and he's got the joy and the fun and all of it. There's just so many guys that you kind of just fall in love with and you root for, and Milton's the latest example.
All right, let's hit our last call of the night. Let's go out to Donnie in California. Donnie, what's going on?
I didn't know you guys were going to get to me. How are you?
Well, we're doing great, man. How are you?
I'm good, man. It's my first time calling the show. I listen to you guys all the time. Big fan of you, Zach, man, especially on the draft show and the other show that you have with Brian Broaddus. And so I really, really like your work.
Thank you, Donnie.
Oh, you're welcome. I really didn't have a question. I just wanted to comment on the Cowboys this year. Usually when I look at preseason games, I don't care about who wins the game. I just look at players.
Yeah.
And I thought a lot of questions were answered tonight. You know, when it came to Joe Milton, I think he locked up the backup quarterback. When it came to Malik Davis, I thought he locked up that number 2 running back. I can't say enough about Barham. Mm-hmm. Yeah, he looks like he's the real deal. But it just seems like the Cowboys, the players are not out of position. They act like they know what they're doing, and they're playing with the physicality that I love. So I'm just looking really forward to the season this year.
I appreciate the call, Donnie, and thank you so much for the kind words. That's the Stack, by the way, on Triangle Global Media, for those of you that want to check that out. But you're right, man. I mean, the depth. Well, we've seen this team kind of get rolled or just not be able to move the football. They're not able to score points. And I get it. You know, the Cardinals, how good are their 2s or 3s? That's a fair question. But We know Seattle's solid. All you got to do is go out there and just showcase the Cowboys have better depth right now. And I think the talent, specifically on the defensive side of the football, when you're looking at it, LT Overton, the rookie, showing out tonight. Jay Toia, is he even going to make the roster? I don't know. But JT certainly said, I'm going to make it damn hard to cut you. You know, DJ Withers, Tommy Dunn, the two Kansas Jayhawks they brought in as undrafted rookie free agents, are playing good football. Barham certainly was as advertised tonight, looked absolutely phenomenal. I mean, all these guys stepping up and flashing and having good moments. That's something that clearly it's a step in the right direction, and we'll see when they start to count against the Giants week 1 if this carries over into the regular season. But I think there's so many positives to take away from tonight.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought up Overton again, because he's a guy that we mentioned in the pregame show, flashed last week in Seattle, and he was a guy that it was like, okay, probably going to be a really good run defender, and we'll see over the course of his career, can you get much out of him as a pass rusher? And they've been able to unlock that through 2 preseason games. Christian Parker and this defensive staff and LT Overton with, such strong hands and just a little bit more juice and kicking more inside compared to what he did at Alabama. Seems like he's going to be a really, really nice fit here. And that's a question that we had outside of Quinnen Williams and Kenny Clark. How many big body dudes in the middle of the defense do you have from a depth standpoint that can actually get after the quarterback? And it seems like Overton has quite a bit more juice from a pass rush standpoint than we were expecting. It was great to see him get that sack tonight.
It sure was. And again, your leading tacklers tonight, Elijah Clark, Julius Wood. Safety's another group that we talked about. Langston Patterson, kind of been an underrated player at linebacker. I think that's a prime candidate to make the practice squad. Justin Barron, Barham were great tonight. You got to see, it was good teaching tape, I think, for Devin Moore, the rookie out of Florida, but good to see him out there. Isaiah Land did some nice things tonight as well. So I think a lot of things, when they go back and they look at the tape, the offensive line will be one that I'm curious to go and check out and see, okay, how much better did Shelton look on the left side? Nate Thomas, it seemed like held up okay, moving back over to the right, but I still think offensive tackle, if you had to say what's your biggest question as we head into New Orleans and really just before the season starts, I still, offensive tackle might be priority number 1, especially if they're really that concerned about Terrence Steele.
Yeah, it has to be. It has to be, because Steele has clearly, it seems like at this point, he's regressed. And we've all, as a Cowboys fan base, we've all been like, man, would like to upgrade from Steele a little bit. And now it's like, if you're getting a lesser version than the Steele that we already know and aren't totally in love with, that's a problem. And then the depth behind him, it was good to see. It was good to see the rookie Drew Shelton on the left side tonight, but Nate Thomas hasn't overly impressed either. It was Donovan Ezeraku in the one-on-ones the other day in Oxnard, just making him face plant completely. The depth at tackle is definitely a big question here, but we do have to give the positive of Tyler Guyton and just being able to stay healthy for the first time in his career through a training camp to this point, and he's definitely refined himself and has committed to being as good a football player as he possibly can. So that's a positive, but yeah, the depth, and then even with your starter in Steele, that's absolutely the biggest question right now.
Running back, I do feel better. We'll see what they end up doing with Jaden Ballou, 75 yards tonight, was your leading rusher. Blake Davis continues to run the ball really hard. Maffa made the most of his one touch. I was a little bit surprised he's had one carry, and maybe that was the injury. And I think they did want to see a lot more from Jaden Ballou. But Phil Moffitt's battling for a roster spot. He did some stuff in the return game. I know Tim and Carthage made that point earlier, but that will be one, and they'll come home. You'll get a chance to go see the Cowboys this week as they'll be doing training camp in Frisco. I think there's 2 opportunities this week to have open practice. You'll be able to go watch them there. And then we got Friday night in AT&T Stadium back home. The New Orleans Saints coming to town. Thank you so much for everyone who's been hanging out with us. Shout out to Brian Broaddus. We love you. Get well soon. For Eric Chiafalo, Peyton Russell holding it down as always, Dylan Moore, Joshua Price, Tim Collins, and of course Douglas. Shout out to Douglas Barraclaw there at Match Control in Frisco. I'm Zach Wolchuk. Until next Friday, hugs and hand pounds, everybody. Dallas Cowboys football will continue here in just a moment.
Veritiv Pollock is more than just a supplier. We're your strategic ally in facility, packaging, and retail solutions. From industrial warehouses to office buildings, schools, and retail operations, we help